Hey Guitar Champion, what's going on? Justin Hombach here, back from my practice cave, and welcome to this walkthrough of Stabwound by Necrophagist. In the next 3 videos we are going to check out Stabwound note for note as a walkthrough with me together. And first, in this video we are going to look at the intro riffs, the 2 intro riffs and the 2 intro solos. I think this will be a really fun stuff to check out the complete song note for note of Stabwound, because there are so many aspects which make this song interesting. The riffing, the timing, the harmony, the solo, and so on and so on. I love this song, it's really groovy in its own way. So, let's check out the first parts of this phenomenal technical death metal legendary song called Stabwound by Necrophagist. If you want the free tabs for today's lesson, then check out the description box. There you will find a download link where you can download the tabs for today's lesson. So, without further ado, let me play this complete part of this lesson slow first, and then we are going to dive right into the intro of Stabwound. Here we go. Warning! I'm going to do this lesson on a E standard tuned guitar. The original song is in D standard, but I think it's always easier to make a lesson in E standard. So if you want to play along with Necrophagist Stabwound, then grab a guitar which is in D standard, or get something like this box here, which can tune your guitar really good way. Okay, let's start with the lesson. Alright, first we're going to take a look at the first riffing of the intro, and the first motive and the first phrase goes like this. Okay, here we have 6 bars of 4/4 and then 1 bar of 7/4, and the 1 bar 7/4 we are using to get to the next part. Alright, we are here in this case in an E harmonic minor scale, and we're starting with this note pattern from the F sharp to the D sharp, going from the 9th fret to the 8th fret, pulling off on the 8th string. So, and now comes the repetition of this. We are playing this again 3 times. 1, 2, 3. But the clue is here. I highly recommend everybody to start now when we are going to play this phrase 3 times, but this time with alternate picking. I highly recommend everybody to start with an up pick. Why? Because then we can end with a down pick, then we have outside picking to do the string skipping to the G string. It's really hard when we are starting here with a downstroke, the 3 repetition of this phrase. Because then we are up here with our pick, I hope you can see this, and then we have to do a downstroke to the next string, to the string skipping on the G string, and this is really difficult. For me personally, I found it a lot more easier when I'm going to have the tip of the pick like this, like when I'm doing it for the last time an downstroke instead of an upstroke. So the tip of the pick is right here, and now I can use an upstroke to get to the next string, to the G string. And here we are going to the E on the G string 9th fret. And now we have a pedal note on the E on the A string, the 7th fret. And we're playing 9, 11, 12. This is our melody here. So we have then we're repeating the first bar, and then we're doing this kind of line. First we're doing the 9th fret on the G string again, and then the 12th fret, and then we're doing this tapping, slide, pull-off thing, kind of weird idea, which is really typical for necrophagists, that they have really weird ideas in their riffing, but this is it, what makes this kind of riffing so special. Okay, the hammer and pulling, the weird section here on the G string. We're starting with the open G string, hammering to the 5th fret with our index, and then having 9, 5, 9, 5, changing between pinky and index. And then we are kind of sliding from the 9th fret to the 11th fret, tapping to the 12th fret, and then pulling off 11 and 8. Now we're repeating the first 2 bars. And then we have the transition to the next riff, which goes like this. Or sometimes I play. And now we are on our 7/4 bar, so we can count it as quarter notes. But I think it's a bit easier to count this one at 8 notes, and we're counting twice to 7. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And the complete first riff in original tempo. And now let's move on to riff number 2. Riff number 2 is a little bit easier to get it under the fingers and in your ears, and it goes like this. Here we have 3 times the 7/4 bar, or sometimes it's tapped as 4/4 and 3/4, but I put them together in 7/4. And but in the last bar we have 8/4. And we are starting the first bar, which goes like this. And here we're hammering from the open E string to the 10th fret, picking it again, playing the octave, and we're picking again 2 times the low octave on the E string, the 2nd fret, 1 time the 4th fret on the D string, and again the F sharp on the E string. Then we're going the kind of same pattern, but 1 step higher to the G. So, and here we have this pattern, and therefore we're hammering again from the low E string to the 3rd fret, the G. And then we are switching between the octave and the G on the E string, so we have this kind of pattern. And in the end of this bar we are doing a pull off from the 5th fret to the 2nd fret. And then again to the F sharp. And then we're doing the same pattern on the G, but this time we're not doing the pull off from the 5th fret to the 2nd fret on the D string, but instead we're doing a slide from the 5th fret to the 4th fret on the A string, from the 5th to the flat 5 in G. Then we're doing the first 2 bars again, and then we're doing the next transition to the next riff, which goes like this. Here we're starting, hammering from the low E string to the 7th fret, the B, playing it 2 times again the B, 1 time the B, and then going to the octave on the 9th fret on the D string, and then 2 times again the B string, this time 2 times, on the E string, the B. Then we are sliding to the G, playing again the G here on the 5th fret and on the 3rd fret on the D and on the E string. And after that we're switching back again to the 7th position on the fretboard, and we're playing this line. First we're doing a low A string, then we're doing the C on the D string with our pinky, then we're doing the E on the G string with our ring finger, doing a little jump to the with our pinky to the 7th fret on the G string, and doing a pull off 7, 4, 5. Alright, all together. And before we are heading to the 2 solos of the intro, we are doing the last part of the riffing section, and therefore we are doing some kind of familiar riffing. And here we have the same frets like in the first riff, back in the beginning, but this time the melody notes on the G string, the E on the 9th fret of the G string is on the offbeat, and before that we have the low E on the A string. And here now we can use regular alternate picking, so down, pull off, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And in frets we have again these 9th fret and the 6th fret in the beginning, going to the 7th fret on the A string. The E, as I've said, is on the 9th fret on the G string, and then we're adding the 10th fret on the A string, the G. Doing a pull off back to the E. And it again, but this time we're stopping on the G, doing no pull off again. Then again, the riff with the pull off, and now we have this little riff section here, pulling from the 9th fret to the 7th fret, jumping straight to the 10th fret with our index finger on the E string, playing the octave of the C, the 10th fret on the D string. Did I say 10th fret on the E string? No, I actually mean 8th fret, sorry. Playing the open A string and the A on the D string with our index finger. And now we're doing a sweep arpeggio. This E minor sweep arpeggio. 7, 5, 4, 5, 3, and 7 on the E string. And then we're sliding to the 8th fret, tapping 12th fret, 8th fret, pulling to the 5th fret, tapping again, 8th fret on the E string, and pulling to the 7th fret. So we have we don't pull from the 8th fret again to the 7th fret, we are straightly tapping to the 7th fret. So we have this idea. And this sweep idea in between those riffing can be really bitchy. It's a really hard section to go from this kind of riffing to the sweep section. So really have to practice the transition from that. So I basically just practice And then we're slamming an A sharp full diminished and coming to the first solo of the intro. The first solo of the intro goes like this. Okay, we're starting this solo with an E minor arpeggio, kind of the same fingering like we had in the riffing before, but 1 octave higher. So this time we have 19, 17, 16, 17, 15 and 19, and then we're tapping 24th fret. Going the sweep back again, descending. Then we have a scale run. This time we're going a little bit out of the E harmonic minor scale and going to A harmonic minor, or better said E phrygian dominant. And we're having this kind of picking run. And here we're starting on the 8th fret on the A string, playing 11 and 12. And we're playing 9, 10, 12, 9, 10, 13, 10, 12, 13, and 10, 12, 13 on the E string. Everything with alternate picking. Then we have a little bit of a tapping section. And we're first tapping into the 17th fret on the E string and pulling the 13, 12, 10 on the E string. Then we're going to the 20th fret. Then we're sliding the ring finger and the B string to the 50th fret. Playing it again. Now we're doing a diminished arpeggio. We're starting on the 18th fret. Did I say 15th fret here? Sorry, I mean 17th fret. And we're starting by the diminished arpeggio on the 18th fret on the B string. Playing 18, 16, hammering 19, tapping 22nd. Pulling it back again, playing again 18 on the B string and 16 on the G string, where we're starting over the sweep arpeggio. And then we're having this section where we're combining pull-off and picking to get this line. Our sequence goes like this. We're starting on the 17th fret on the E string, playing 3 notes, 17, 16, 13. Then we're playing in the scale again 3 notes, 16, 13, but this time we're going to the 15th fret on the, the 17th fret on the B string. To get there a bit easier for our picking hand, we're doing the pull-off between 16 and 13. So we have pick, pull. Then we are playing again 3 notes, this time starting on the 13th fret, changing directly to the B string, playing 17, 15, and then we are starting this sequence all over, but this time on the B string, starting on the B string. So we have 17, 15, 13, 15, pull off 13, 16 on the G string, 13 B string, 16, 14 G string, and then we're playing 13, 14, 16, 13 on the G string. This was the first solo of the intro. Okay, now we're going to check out the chords, which comes before the second kind of little solo part. The first chord is really interesting. It's again from the E harmonic minor scale, and it's kind of B with a flat 9 and the raised 6, but you can also see it as a diminished, as a C diminished with a major 7. So I think there are many variations how you can call this kind of chord. We have the C, the A flat, the C again, and the B. But I think it sounds for me personally more like a B with a flat 9. Or it could be also a C major, sharp 5, major 7. Whatever, it sounds really awesome. And we're playing the low E string, then we have this shape. This time again A sharp, B, or G sharp, sorry, not A sharp, G sharp, G. We have the E, the D sharp, and the B. So it sounds really disturbing. And then we're moving the first, the notes on the G, the B and the E string, half tone below. And then we're going to the second solo part, which is a really interesting sweep picking part. And here I have to warn you, slow, this section sounds really weird. It makes more sense when you're playing it fast. So first let me try to play it fast. And it's a really weird section. We're starting with an E minor sweep arpeggio, and then tapping the high E on the 19th fret on the E string, going back the arpeggio to the 8th fret on the B string, we're sliding to the 12th fret, and now having this phrase 12, 10, 13, 10 with pull-offs. Then we're playing arpeggio shape C diminished, tapping to the D sharp, the E flat, playing this shape back again. This shape is really similar to the one from the first solo. Playing it up again. Then we're tapping 20th fret, playing this E minor sweep arpeggio, pull off, upstroke, down sweep. Then we're doing 2 times the pull off on the E string, tapping on the 24th fret, pulling back from 19 to 15, and then we're jumping to the G string, playing again the diminished chord, and then the upper section of the E minor chord. And fast. Okay, so this was the intro of Stabwound, the intro riff and the 2 solos. We are going to hear the 2 solos on some parts again in this song, and also one riff from the intro riff. We are going to face it again in the verse, which will be the next video. So stay tuned for the next video where we're going to check out the really crazy and strange verse riff, and then we are going to check out in the third video the solo of Stabwound. So stay tuned. I hope I'm going to see you in the next video. Cheers and stay progress.